Jack is back, and so are we. Welcome to Playing the Field, a Bachelor podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Field, a sports anchor here in New York City. Thank you for being here, as always. We are joined now by only half of your usual favorites. Jen Matarese, our Bachelor insider from ABC in New York, is here, but Gina has jury duty?
Yes.
Bum, bum, ba-dum.
Do you think she's going to get put on a case?
You know what? It could be. I have a funny jury duty story to tell you. We're going to share that later in the show. I don't think she's going to be put on a case. At least let's hope not, because we want to have Gina here next week.
I know.
You know? But we do have one very special guest that's filling in for Gina today. And we know he is happy to be here. The honorary third member of our Playing the Field podcast today, Jack is here. What's going on, Jack?
Oh, not too much. Just sitting here in beautiful Northwest Indiana, enjoying the beautiful weather.
Enjoying the beautiful weather. Fall is here, arguably the best time of year, and you've been having the best time of your life, my friend. Kind of take us through what these last few months have been like for you.
It's been totally insane. It started in February of last year, and they called, and I thought it was a prank call. And then I started interviewing, and then maybe 12 interviews later, 6 of them Zoom, they said I'm going to Hollywood.
Very American Idol-esque, if you will, another one of our favorite properties here at ABC. You're going to Hollywood. Now, listen, you had to audition for this, right? This wasn't just like a call out of the blue that you didn't know was coming.
Oh, yeah. I did quite a bit of auditions. Zoom ones. There was one that I did with 3 producers, and they could have been exact. I don't know what they were. But I just remember when they got done with the interview, for some ungodly reason, they were choking laughing. And the one guy said, "You're just what this show needs." So I guess at times I can be a little comical.
I think definitely. And I was so sad when you got eliminated because I thought, oh, come on, we need at least one more full week.
One more week of Jack.
But was it your idea to go out for this show, or did your friends bring it up, or someone in your family? How did this all come about?
Well, I had an old girlfriend that, about a year ago, she went and she said, "I think you ought to get on the Golden Bachelor." And I laughed, and then she said no, and then she sent me an application. And then one night that I was maybe had a few cocktails, I filled out 39 pages of that. So.
Oh, my gosh. 39 pages?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
That's a lot.
Well, you know what? You better get a phone call after filling all that out. That's a commitment.
I'm telling you.
Well, listen, we know your time on the show was short-lived, but I think it's safe to say you will live on in Bachelor infamy just based on the very good impression you made in a short amount of time. What was your favorite part about being in the Bachelor Mansion with those guys?
The guys were great. I mean, we had 24 guys. We all got along to a point. And just the camaraderie between us and the mansion itself. And I love the pool, as we could see. But it was like 95 degrees. Why wouldn't you go in the pool?
So who were you closest with while you were there?
I would say Greg.
Mm-hmm.
Greg and Dan. They were both we just kind of hung out, and it had a lot of fun. They're funny guys, and we just enjoyed each other's company.
And we were talking about this. It's not often we see an actual, let's call it a cooking show going on at the Bachelor Mansion, especially on opening night. You guys took full advantage of all the amenities that were there, and you were kind of the ringleader in all of this.
When I got off the bus or whatever we came on, and came in there, it was like they asked me, they said, "Hey, would you mind cooking?" And I said, "Of course not." I mean, it was fun. And all the guys, either they were good liars or whatever, said they couldn't my food.
Joan seemed to like your food.
Yes, she did.
Really enjoy it.
Yes, it was a pleasure to cook for her on that first night. And it was, I made a tenderloin medallions with the ortolay sauce and asparagus with a hollandaise, and then I did a rice pilaf with it. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. She don't like that. She don't like anything, but it was good.
That's a legit meal. How long did that take to cook?
Oh, probably 45 minutes, maybe an hour.
That's pretty fast. You could be on Chopped.
Yeah, I think, yeah, maybe we'll go from one reality show to the next.
Exactly.
I love how you're just so nonchalant about your cooking skills. We also know you're pretty nonchalant about your singing skills. Jen called you our favorite crooner, which I think is a perfect way to describe you. Tell us a little bit about your singing past, and we've had a lot of requests for you to perhaps,
just texted.
regale us with one of your favorite songs here today.
I've been lucky enough that I used to be out before they even invented karaoke. I was out in the bars and I'd ask a guy, "Hey, can I sing?" He said, "No." And then I give him $20. The next thing I was up there singing. So I really enjoyed singing out and doing that type of thing. But I can't sing anything past 1980.
It's not necessary.
You know what? There's no good music past 1980, Jack. Let's be honest about that.
I agree with you 1,000%.
I have to know why you didn't sing in the talent show.
Because I couldn't. And let me explain something there. Okay. When they decided, or whatever, I decided that I was going to come out of limo singing, I didn't realize that they have to pay for that, like, My Way song to use it. And so I would have had to sing My Way, or they told me a Christmas carol from
No, you can't do that.
And I said I couldn't do the Christmas carol.
And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friends, I'll say it clear, I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full, I've traveled each and every highway and more, much more than this, I did it my way. I'm Jack. Joan, it's a pleasure to meet you. You do things your way, I do things my way, but if we get together, we could maybe do it our way.
We do it. That is perfect.
So I ended up with the damn sock puppet, and stuff. But if I would have thought about it enough, because it came to me later, I'd have had the sock puppet sing after it got done.
Right.
My way.
The best ideas oftentimes are after the fact, Jack, unfortunately.
Exactly.
What was your relationship like with Joan? I mean, we've had her here on the podcast. She's such a lovely lady, very elegant, very well-spoken, and obviously it seems like she has been very well received in the mansion.
She's just a class act. She's absolutely beautiful and just as nice. And my relation, of course, I made her dinner one night. We had a little conversation there, but I never went out on like a date with her, because then I'd probably still be there. I'd be there the last one standing.
Yeah, you
obviously.
I'm just saying, but yes, she was absolutely wonderful.
So what is it really like when you're trying to get to know Joan and there's all these other guys trying to edge people out for time? I mean, it seems like the guys are pretty respectful of each other, but did you find it hard to make those moments with Joan?
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't a whole bunch of time to see her, because you got 24 guys at that point in time trying to get time with her. And so it really wasn't, it wasn't the amount of time, but it's a TV show. You're limited to time. Mm-hmm. So, but it was, because you want to say the right things to her. And if you say one wrong thing, you only got a few minutes to say things. So you got to watch what you're saying.
Obviously so, and it seems like everybody, I think the thing that really stands out about this season, and we've talked about this at length on this podcast, is how different this is from the regular Bachelor and Bachelorette franchise, where we know it's a competition, but it doesn't feel as cutthroat as it does in those other series. And it seems like there was such a camaraderie in that room that you guys were genuinely rooting and pulling for each other. And don't you think that's one of the reasons why this show has become or had such a mass appeal to so many people?
That's the truth. Every one of us would have helped the other one, I believe. I mean, I might be wrong, but I was just happy as hell to do it. I mean, it was just fun.
What is it like being a part of the Bachelor Nation family now? I mean, you're kind of in this elite group of people.
Yes, he is.
Who, you know, you got to go to Dancing with the Stars and, you know, show up there. So can you tell us a little bit about what it's been like so far and about Dancing with the Stars?
It's crazy. I mean, it's absolutely nuts. I mean, you know, I'm sitting there the other night. I got my pink coat on, looking, and I got, you know, I'm sitting with all these stars and stuff, and I'm thinking, how the hell did this happen? I mean, it's been over whatever the months, but it's really kind of cool.
Has anything happened to you in everyday life, not just the Dancing with the Stars, but maybe people recognizing you or things on social media that you've really been kind of taken back by and you're like, wow, I can't believe this is actually happening?
I was out to dinner in Crown Point, Indiana last night, and there were about 10 of us. And the lady across, she goes, "There's Jack." And then the waitress comes over, "That's Jack." And then, you know, then they ask you to do pictures, which a picture is fine. But the autograph is just too weird. I can't do it.
Hey, you're a household name now, my friend. This all comes with the territory.
I guess so, and maybe I'll learn, but not right at this point in time.
So there's been a lot of talk about Bachelor in Paradise.
Yes.
There's been people that just want you to go on regular old Bachelor in Paradise and be the bartender, maybe alongside Wells or something like that. Or maybe there would be a version of Golden Bachelor in Paradise. What are your thoughts on both of those things?
I'm signing up for both of them.
Yeah, you are.
Nice.
You know, I mean, how much fun can you have in life? I mean, Bachelor in Paradise, it's got to be an island, right? I mean,
there's definitely sand and beach.
Yep,
yeah,
Mexico,
I mean,
right?
nice water, all the things.
Life anyway.
Is there any of the women from Jerry's season that have piqued your interest? Like, do you know any of their names? Have you met any of them?
He's smiling.
We know someone who's interested in meeting you.
We've been talking on the phone, actually. I talked to her this morning.
Who's that?
Is it
Susan?
Susan? It
No
is,
way.
Yes. Wait. So are you guys going to go on a date for real?
Are
Are you guys going out on a date?
You know, we're working on it.
Oh my goodness.
I love
Yes. Yeah, she's in California now. I was there last week, so our schedules are kind of screwed up, but and she's from Philadelphia, which I guess is 12 hours from us.
But as Jen can tell you, Jack, we had Susan on a couple weeks ago, and she basically said that she wanted
She would love to meet you. Yeah. And also, I don't know if you can hook this up for us, but Kathy would like to meet Greg.
So we figured that'd be a natural double date since Greg is your buddy, too.
Yeah.
I actually just got off the phone with him, too. So and he actually has a place in Longboat Key, so we're all praying for. He's not there. He's in Utah because he's got 2 rooms. But yes, Greg is a great guy, funny as hell.
So ideal date for you and Susan, now that we know that the spark has been lit here. What are you planning? I mean, this would be a big deal, and obviously when you have 2 people that are as popular in Bachelor Nation as you are, there may be some paparazzi nearby, so you might have to play this one a little close to the vest, I feel.
I think it'd be a beautiful idea, and maybe we get a, beautiful restaurant, a little wine, a little dinner, maybe a little dancing. It'll be all good.
With the pink sport coat?
I don't think I'll wear the pink sport coat that day. That's, we're trying not to attract at this point.
Like a nice little salmon colored shirt or something.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I do have one of those.
I bet. Listen, I think you're cool going in your Dick Butkus jersey, if I'm being honest. I think Susan would appreciate that either way.
Sports fan,
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. So, now that you are in this dating life, 68 years old, correct?
Correct.
So you've got your eye on Susan. I mean, have you kind of opened yourself up even more to the dating world now that you've been on this show? And has this kind of given you, it sounds cliche, but kind of a new lease on life, so to speak, when it comes to your dating life?
My dating life is actually been okay. I mean, especially now. You get a lot of what do you call them things? Messengers or whatever,
The DMs, I believe they call them, Jack.
Is that what they call them?
Yeah, people are sliding into your
DMs.
DMs.
Yeah.
That's what the kids say.
By the way, up until 3 weeks ago, I couldn't spell podcast, so you know that.
Well, I was nervous if you said you couldn't spell DM. I didn't know where you were going to go with that.
No, that one I got.
So, can I ask, I think there's going to be future seasons of the Golden Bachelor, Bachelorette, right?
That, yeah.
So, little things change as this series goes along. What advice would you give to future contestants?
Be yourself. I mean, and if anything, all the people that have come up to me that I have known for years, and they said to me, "Hey, Jack, we're proud of you. You did South Chicago good, and you were yourself through the whole thing. There was no fakeness or anything to it, because that's me. I'm kind of the guy that tells you that a spade is a spade, or whatever is a whatever,
And that attitude is something that definitely endeared you to Bachelor Nation, and we've been so excited to watch your journey unfold, and obviously so excited to have you here on the podcast. I'm going to leave you with one final question. Dream scenario: if you're in the Olympics and you get scored for the biggest splash for a cannonball, you can have that, or you get to be a contestant on the Golden American Idol and sing your heart out. Which one are you choosing if you get the chance to be on a stage? Which one are you going with?
No question. Golden American Idol.
There we go. I had a feeling you were going to go that way.
Oh, I love that idea, Ryan. I love that.
Jack, you got a little number to send us to break? Can you send us to a commercial break with a little song?
We could probably maybe just do the old song, because that just seems to be the motif these days.
Let's do it.
And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friends, I'll say it clear. I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full. I've traveled each and every highway and more. Much more than this, I did it my way.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Unbelievable.
Great job. You sound great.
You got the golden ticket. You're going to Hollywood, my friend. Yes, sir. Jack, thanks so much for being here. We really appreciate it, and we hope we can talk to you later on when you are the bartender on Bachelor in Paradise and a contestant on the Golden Bachelor in Paradise.
Definitely.
Sounds like a beautiful thing. I got to tell you, the last time I did a podcast, they told me to hang it up or get off, and I didn't know how. So,
Jack has left the chat, and now we have my face up here, and Jen gets to stare at the picture and at me, although you'd much rather stare at Jack.
Jack, even more handsome on Zoom, I have to say.
and very likable.
How could you not like Jack? I mean,
know.
He's great. And clearly, I'm hopeful that Susan
How
will
about
like
that little
Jack.
scoop that came
And
down?
I hope Kathy appreciates that I put a word in for her.
You were definitely, what do they call that? Wing womaning?
I tried.
Yeah, you were wing womaning for Kathy.
I just want them all to find love, you know?
And you know what? Maybe that's the whole point of this podcast, is we are
Matchmakers.
Matchmakers. Yeah, that's exactly right. We're just handing out roses here left and right.
Maybe people will want to come on because we find them dates.
You know what? That's actually a very good point. And maybe starting with the host, huh? No, kidding. Kidding.
Jen Tran single again.
Jen
I know
Tran
you
is
liked
single.
her. You
Dude,
liked
hold
her a
on.
lot.
You know, I'm glad you brought this up, and
Okay.
we're going off topic here a little bit. Do you think anything's going to go on with her and Sasha?
I think it could.
Dancing with the Stars?
Yeah,
Because
her
he's
dance-
recently single. Is that
He
also
is.
true?
He is. He's divorced.
Okay.
But he seems to be moved on and in a good place, and so does she.
Yeah.
At this point, she's moving on and doing pretty well on Dancing with the Stars.
That she is.
So,
That she is.
But not as good as Joey. Joey is tearing it up.
Joey was #1 in the rankings.
Did you see him do a flip on
I
stage?
did see him do it. You know what? We knew he had more in him than what he was showing thus far, and
It was
that's
crazy.
exactly what's
I
happening.
can't believe he's that good of a dancer.
I know, and it's cool that they have not one but 2 members of Bachelor Nation
know.
in this season of Dancing with the Stars, and I wonder if we'll see Jack in there at one point.
He would be great.
He would be great.
Susan would be great. I mean, I could see it.
And it was cool seeing he was there with Jonathan, and who else was there? I think there was 4 people
It was
that
all
were.
his guys.
Yeah,
Like,
it was
the
all
group
of his
of
guys. They were
yeah.
sitting there on the baseline, if you will, sports term, watching Dancing with the Stars unfold. They said they were there to cheer on Jen and Joey, and they posted a picture on social media of all them with Jen, which was really cool. And I guess that just speaks to why this franchise not only has been around for so long, but why so many people like it, is because you kind of have like this, what do we call them, alumni? Like the alumni group of Bachelor Nation that is always genuinely rooting for each other and pulling for each other. I mean, obviously you have extra circumstances that sometimes come into play where people don't like each other, but for the most part.
I mean, even after the season ends, the villains and the people they have a beef with usually come to peace. Like they let bygones be bygones. That's what happened in the show. Let's get to real life, and maybe you're a decent person.
And that's the hope, right?
Yes.
And we've seen a few decent people go home in this episode.
Oh, this was a hard
of
one.
the Golden Bachelorette, and it was very hard, very touching. And, you know, I mean, where do we even begin? I guess we have
Let's
to start
start
at the top.
Let's start at the
because
top.
they show her and Chalk hugging, right?
Yep.
And emotional. And when we touched on this last week, in the trailer for last week, he said he has to leave. Now, you're kind of left to wonder, well, why is he leaving? Is he, like, in his feelings like Devin was, where he was kind of breaking down?
Gina's
and-
upset with you, by the way, about
Why
that.
is that?
Because you compared him to Devin.
Well, I was
Who's
not
her
comparing
least favorite
him.
person in the world.
We're going to have to get David, who's the guy in charge of making sure technically that we're all good. We're going to have David come in here at one of these points and help be the voice of reason during these arguments. And although he might side with Gina on this as well, who knows?
You know, I said to Gina, I said, they set this trailer up for the following week, you know, to make it look like he was leaving for some kind of reason or having a problem with something.
Because you could see in last week, and not to cut you off, that he was, you could see he was really starting to fall for Joan.
Yes.
So I was thinking like, okay, now he sees her going on one-on-one dates with other guys, and he just can't handle it and has to leave. That's what I thought.
That is how they made it seem.
Yes.
But then we learn there's a very sad reason.
The most sad reason.
It's so sad. His mother passes away. He has to go home for the funeral and to make arrangements. And, you know, we'll get to it, but I'm so glad that he was allowed to come back. You know, that they made arrangements for him to be able to leave and come back, because I wonder what would have happened if Joan could have done that. But her situation was a little different. Maybe she needed more time with her family during that. So it wasn't quite as quick of a turnaround for her.
Yeah, and 2 things to that point. One, I think it's important to remember in this competition, quote unquote, that he did receive that rose.
Yes.
So he had already kind of gotten his, we'll call it a get out of jail free card to come back.
Yeah.
At when he felt necessary, he was able to do it, right? I think the most surprising thing was I didn't think he was coming back in this episode. I thought it was going to be, I was picturing like they're down to the final 3 and all of a sudden Chalk is back and then she has this crazy decision to make. That's kind of where my mind went, because I know they love to build up the drama in this show. So I was kind of like waiting for the dun-dun-dun with like three guys left.
It would
and
be
then
so mad, right?
Right. And then all of a sudden he comes back. But, listen, everybody handles grief and their family situations in their own way. And I think when he left, I was thinking, okay, he's going to be gone for at least a week to 10 days to grieve, be with his family, all the important things that you have to do when you lose a loved one. Now, we don't know exactly how long he was gone, but based on how this show plays out,
couple days?
Yeah, I was going to say, it almost seems like it was 5 days or less. I'm pretty comfortable in saying that.
Yeah, I would guess that as well, because they had the rose ceremony like that night. So we do have a clip of when they reunited.
Let's play it.
Joan,
Oh my God,
how are you?
you're back.
Yes, I am.
I am so excited to see you. Oh my God, you made my night. I've been thinking about you so much. I can't believe you're back. How you
So
doing?
good to see you.
How you doing?
Very good. Very good now.
Everything good?
Yep.
Okay. Oh my God, I haven't been to see you so soon.
Been a crazy week. The passing of my mother, it was extremely tough. Even though you anticipated it, I just didn't think it would happen this quick. But there was no way I was not coming back. I've got a unique opportunity that very few people in the world do with a great woman. So I'm here. I'm here.
I mean, I knew that this was expected. It's still so hard when it happens.
There was a couple of moments that I just, like walked in the house and it's just reality because I got there the night that she passed.
Yeah, I know. So
Yeah, and-
it just happened.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah.
she was in some pain.
It was
but,
inevitable.
it was time.
I
It was
know.
time. It's never good, but I mean, I had to come back and see you.
Okay, I'm glad you did. I can't tell you how happy I am to see you right now.
I can't wait to spend more time with you, Joan, and I'm crazy about you. And I say that from the bottom of my heart. I just can't keep my hands off of you. If I could just pull you away. And I do have one question for you.
Yeah.
So the other day you were wearing a ring on this hand. Mm-hmm. And what was the ring? What was the symbol of that ring?
So I do still wear a ring that John gave me sometimes, but I
didn't know.
I wear it on
that.
this hand.
Uh-huh.
So it took me a long time to move it from this hand after he passed away. And so I wear it over there a lot. I've tried not to wear it here, honestly. Like, I didn't feel like it was fair to keep carrying him around with me just because it made me feel safe. I had to find safety in something else. Mm-hmm. And that was in this journey, and that I believed in it. So
Well, I
since I've
support
been
it,
here-
and if you do, I'm okay with it.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that.
Absolutely. And I've been thinking too. Trust me, I've been thinking about us.
Okay.
And the one thing I wanted to talk to you about was I've had armor up my whole life. Mm-hmm. And it's time I let that down. And I just, I need to do that because I owe that to you and open my heart. It's just very tough for me.
I have the same armor problem as you probably have seen. So, yeah, it's scary to let it down because you don't know if you let it down, if you're going to get hurt.
That was the thing that I had to tell you is I'm afraid of getting hurt.
Me too.
And I can't do that, and I'm going to need help because it's not fair to you and it's not fair to me. I want to open up more to you.
Okay.
I do, and I'm crazy about you,
I know.
and I want you to know that. I just have to.
I miss Chuck. And I'm so happy that he came back so quickly. I feel like he did that for me. Makes me feel good. I feel safe again. I feel comfortable again. Like I have a future. Like there's hope. I can imagine it now. I see a future with more than one person.
And it was kind of almost, and this is me putting my producer hat on, it was almost kind of too matter-of-factly, like, oh, look, Chuck is back. I felt like there needed to be a little more...
Tension?
Not tension, but a little more oomph behind it, like him coming back, like making like this grand moment. Instead, she's just standing outside and he's like, hey, Joan. And she's like, oh my God, Chuck, you're back.
But she's like so emotional about it, though. She did. Like
Of course.
She was so glad he was back. And I mean, I was like, wow, they've really advanced their relationship pretty far. And he even said to her, I think it was earlier, though, before he left or as he was leaving, he's like, I'm going to need you, like, to be, to sit with me when he was leaving. Because, like, he was so sad because he had just found out that terrible news, But it's like they're already counting on each other for emotional support,
I guess I was hearkening back to, remember in Jen's season with our boy, Matthew.
They
saw him, they had him arrive at the airport. Like there's like this dramatic drive through New Zealand. He gets to the hotel. He meets Jesse. Like I guess that's what I was expecting with Chalk coming. More of a moment. Like okay, here's Chalk at the airport. Like I'm coming to get my girl. Like he's back. It was just like all of a sudden he appears out of the darkness and there he is. And then I also thought they should have shown the guy's reaction to him coming back. They never showed that.
Yeah.
Because, you know, there would have been like a lot of
group hugging.
Yeah, of course. Like this guy has just come from his mother's funeral. And I thought looking at it from a producer perspective, I thought they kind of dropped the ball, that they really could have played up that moment a little more because we don't see that very often. I mean,
ever.
You're more well-versed in this than I am.
I don't think anyone's ever really left and came back.
Came back in
like
that
if you
manner.
Leave, you leave. It's always been the rule. It's like if you leave, and that's it. And
yeah.
Unless you're going to make some kind of grand return for her and then upset everybody like you would expect to happen
right, exactly.
on the regular show.
No, so I thought that was kind of one thing that was missing from this episode, but otherwise I thought everything else was just great. And the group date right off the bat when they do the Chippendale style. And last season it was Thunder from Down Under, right? In Jen's season. And this season they went with the Chippendales, even bringing out some of the original Chippendales, which was so cool.
Because guys, I'm so happy to see you today. And I brought along a friend. Come on out. Hi, guys. And this is the amazing, iconic Kaitlyn Bristowe. Former Bachelorette, total lady boss.
So as we know, Joan is looking for somebody who is spontaneous and confident. So hit it.
All of a sudden, the OG, the original Chippendales dancers come out, and they're probably close to our age.
We are teaming up with Stand Up to Cancer to help raise awareness to bear it all. To your doctor, that is.
To find out that it was for Stand Up to Cancer, it changed the entire dynamic. Well, let's get this going.
Body hit, here it goes. That's it, hey.
I think it's probably more comfortable for the guys to maybe learn those techniques and those moves from people their own age. That they can see how they kind of, I mean, of course, they're in like peak physical shape for men their age. And these guys are in great shape, but not Chippendale shape, maybe.
Not Chippendale shape.
And I mean, but Jonathan pulled it off.
Yes, he did. What was he, the sexy sergeant or whatever he claimed to be?
All I remember are the gold underwear.
Yeah, of course that's all you remember. See, this is where we need David to come in and just be like, just shaking his head. We need to get a camera on David. Jen in her golden underwear.
No.
Listen, Joan, I think that's what she's going to remember most about this episode, too, to be fair.
And he gave them to her.
Yeah, he did. He knew what he was doing. A little memento. And I liked Gary just coming over and just ripping his shirt open.
I loved it because he was so, like, I mean, he was fully dressed in like a three-piece suit.
the nutty professor.
I thought, oh, is he just going to take the vest off or what's he going to do?
No.
Oh, no. He went for it. And
Gary was bearing it all.
Gary.
Good for you, Gary.
You know, and I think they all just had so much fun with it. Yeah. And
even Chalk.
Yes.
Who, you know, and I think
stiff.
He was a little stiff. I think to their point that a lot of guys made, once they found out this was a benefit for Stand Up to Cancer, I mean, I think any one of us in that position would be like, okay, now we have to kind of rise to the occasion here and put on a good show because it's for a great cause, a very important cause to a lot of people. And it was very, very neat to see those guys shake their stuff.
And Kaitlyn was there, former
Kaitlyn Bristowe, yeah. She was there, podcast host, and she was definitely loving that with her front row seat. And that's when Chalk got the rose for that episode, right? Was it in the group? Was that in the group setting right
Yes.
there? Yeah.
Yes,
Chalk
it was after. It was
rose.
like when they were in the group evening portion of the date where they shared all their thoughts with each other.
Yeah.
And, you know, they just, I feel like he set like a new level of Bachelor talk in the I'm crazy for you. So there's I'm falling for you and the I'm in love with you, right? There's those two levels. And now he's got I'm crazy for you. So that's like an early level of I guess. I don't know.
I would agree. And let me tell you something else I liked was when he said, let's talk about us. And then what did he say? You go first. which I thought was a very good play on his part because
good observation.
Yes, because think about it. If you are, and I know you haven't been on a date in how long with someone besides your husband? 25 years has it been? 15 years?
Like 18.
18 years. Okay, so it's been a while since you've been on a date.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things when you're putting yourself out there, you don't want to show too many of your cards, if you will, right? You don't want to put yourself out there too much if you know it's not going to be reciprocated, right? So when you're early on in the dating world, you're kind of like, kind of tiptoeing around it without, going all Gary and just showing yourself full Monty style.
Gary style.
And I thought that was a good ploy on his part to let her say how she felt, and then he could in turn react and then say how he felt. And I thought that was a very good move on his part.
Yeah, I mean, they just keep furthering their relationship, and he focuses on what he should be focusing on, which is their relationship. He doesn't waste a lot of time on all the other stuff. So, I think the future seasons of The Bachelorette those guys could learn a thing or two.
Yeah, I agree.
Less drama, more focus on falling in love. There you go.
That's all we want. Now, sometimes it doesn't make as good a TV with some of the younger kids, but listen, I think at this point, it should be all about focusing on the task at hand, or as some like to say, keep the main thing the main thing.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. Do you think that if they did a season of The Bachelorette or The Bachelor and the contestants behaved the way these more mature ones do you think it could be as successful?
Well, see, now that's a good question. And that's kind of the point. I feel like I don't know that it would be, because we know that, and I don't know the ins and outs of the show like you and Gina do, but I feel like the producers kind of pick someone to be the villain and kind of be the instigator. And I feel like they want to do that to drive the drama and drive the viewership and make you want to tune in. But then to your point, you see this stuff and you don't really need it. And the show is good by itself when it becomes about romance and friendship and camaraderie and cheering each other on. And, I think to what you're trying to say, I think that there are some lessons to be taken away from the Golden series and how they can apply it to The Bachelor and Bachelorette.
It would be interesting to see it that way.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd like to see them
Maybe we'll see that time come. But getting back to this episode, so a very tough pivot for our friend Joan, because she finds out that Chalk's mom has passed.
Yes.
This is as she arrives for her one-on-one with Jordan. Right. And she's like, oh, I'm so excited to go with Jordan, to see Jordan today, go on a date with him. And then Chalk shows up, tears in his eyes, greets her at the door of her car, and we need to talk. And now she's probably thinking like, oh, he has to leave because he's kind of like what we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
He's overwhelmed with the situation and has to leave.
Yeah.
And then he just drops the bomb on her. She's crying. He's crying. And he has to leave. And, I know it's a show, and I know that you kind of have to put your best foot forward and put on your best face. But to have to pivot going from getting that news to all of a sudden being all cheery, walking into the house and being like, hey, Jordan, let's go ice skating.
Yeah. I mean, she pulled it off, though, because I wasn't sure how she was going to be on that date. And she could have talked to Jordan about it a little bit, but she chose not to. She just went through with the date and focused on him. Kept the main thing the main thing.
She did keep the main thing the main thing.
And, oh my gosh, Jordan on those ice skates. How do you get to be in your 60s and not be able to ice skate?
Well, now, wait a minute. Full disclosure, I'm in my 40s, and I look about as good as skates as Jordan does.
But
good on
skates. You're a sports guy.
I'm a sports guy, and I grew up in the Midwest where we had snow every winter.
What happened?
I don't know. Somewhere between childhood and adulthood, I just did not learn how to skate.
Roller skates, same thing?
Roller skates, even worse.
Oh,
absolutely.
Gosh. Oh,
I can kind of move around the way he was. It always helps when you have someone that you can kind of have pull you along, as he said.
Like that scene in Rocky where he just doesn't even wear the skates. He just jogs alongside Adrian.
That would be me, yes. Jogging alongside.
Oh,
but yeah, that one definitely hit a little too close to home when I saw him falling on the ice, because that has definitely
hit his head.
Me. Yeah, he did.
Did you see it?
Yeah, that was.
Back?
I was like, well, he has a concussion now. We'll see if we're able to continue on with this season for Jordan. But I thought they had a great date. Super cute.
Ario
hot chocolate and all. Oh, Ario.
That was cool.
That was super cool.
I thought it was cool.
Yeah. And hearing Jack say there was no good music before or after 1980, we should have had Jack up there with Ario Speedwagon singing.
Could do it.
That would have been awesome.
He's really good, I have to say.
Good.
He was a great singer.
Good. Yeah, and we had our own little private concert here.
Gina missed it.
Gina definitely missed out. All the good things happen when Gina's not around.
Oh,
unbelievable!
No, don't say that.
We miss Gina terribly, and I do still have to tell my jury duty story. But let's get to so we have
the next date.
The next date, guys one-on-one. They cook at her house. By the way, great pad.
Yeah, they set her up very nicely.
I'll say she's got like this villa in the mountains, and then they're showing the one shot of like all the clouds, like right there by her infinity pool, just to give you an idea how high up she is. She's literally in the clouds.
Yeah.
Hanging at her Golden Bachelorette mansion, if you will. And they come over, have a nice little dinner. We find out that guy can't cook.
How can you not zest a lemon, yet you're a surgeon?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, isn't this guy an ER doctor? Yeah. I'm like, if I'm coming in there with a problem, I don't know if I want Guy being there welcoming me and not knowing how to zest a lemon.
She even said that.
Yeah. And as I was thinking it, she said it.
Yeah.
And I was like, Joan and I are on the same page. As someone who has not zested a lemon, isn't it kind of easy to cut your finger with that?
Yeah. Like,
grater?
I mean, it's a grater.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, it's like a grater. And you just kind of like, move the lemon around to get the yellow part off when you're zesting. You don't want to get all the white stuff because then it tastes a little yucky.
Yeah, and I think he forgot that first part. He just went right to the back and forth, and Joan was looking at him like, and then she says, let's just switch. You do this and I'll do that.
Yeah.
She makes some great lemon baked ziti, and they have a great date. And you know what? My observation, in addition to how bad of a chef Guy is I think they look pretty cute together.
They do, and he is kind of fresh on the market. He's only divorced, he said, about a year.
Yeah. Does that constitute? Well, yeah, because they were, what, 34 years?
That's like a long time to, and then he said he kind of retreated for a while. Right. He was just feeling very down, and his kids helped pick him back up. And, his wife is a politician out there.
Right.
And so she's well known, and I think it's probably, I don't know if it was like high profile out there for this to happen, and for him to have to deal with the separation and divorce and all of that.
Is that what married people say about divorcees, fresh on the market? Is that what you guys say?
I don't know. Well, he seems like fresh on the market.
Yes, he is fresh on the market. But I think they look cute together, I think he might be one of the sneaky guys to come out of nowhere and win this.
He's in our top 7 now.
He is in our top 7.
So
we get to the rose ceremony. Chalk comes back. Huge moment there.
Let's talk about what he said about her wearing that ring. So,
good
that
point.
that was a moment, I thought, where I thought, wow, he's really noticing a lot of things about her, because he's like, I noticed you were wearing this ring on your finger, and what does it mean, basically? And she said, well, I didn't feel comfortable wearing a ring all the time, but it helps me feel close to my husband who died, and I don't want to be disrespectful to the guys. I'm trying to find love again, but, sometimes, I feel better when I wear this. And he was like, go wear it. He's like, I'm all for it.
Yeah. And I think that's the only thing you can say in that situation.
That's what he should say.
That's what you should say. Even a better way to put it.
Yeah, I think you should, because he's not a threat. And you know what I mean?
Oh,
the poor man has gone on, and Joan's still grieving.
And how many of the guys on this show who have, there's been a few that have lost their wives, and she's obviously lost her husband, and they talk about how, listen, this person is always going to be in my heart, but that doesn't mean there's not room for another person. Mm-hmm. And I think you can't forget that part of your past, because it, in so many ways, has shaped your present and your future.
Yes.
And if that future is with Joan or with someone else, I mean, that's all part of it. Mm-hmm. And I think you have to be welcoming and appreciative of that part of your journey. And, you know, Mark is one of those guys who lost his wife, right? And I thought that was one of my favorite parts of the episode, too, when he called Kelsey and Joey, and Joey's giving him advice if they get to the fantasy suites and everything. And I was like, Joey forgot to mention the part when you make breakfast the next morning and you're giggling and tickling each other like we saw with him and Kelsey. He forgot to, he left that part out, and they're still going strong.
So great. I'm so happy for them, and it's so nice. Like, I love that Mark is a part of this show, and I hope he continues on and we get to see an actual date with Joan.
Yeah, I would love to see that. Yeah, I would love to see that. So the rose ceremony happens. Who goes home? Let's cross them off.
Oh, gosh.
On
Gary,
our big board here.
Sad.
Gary goes home. We were sad to see Gary go, but I don't think Gary ever even got a kiss, if I'm not mistaken.
On the cheek.
Yeah.
I think.
So she
Charles.
wasn't feeling that. Charles went home.
Another friend.
We knew that was going to happen.
He is a fan favorite.
He is a fan favorite. And I thought also, by the way, that he did very well on the striptease.
He did.
Chippendales. I thought he was
Gil
fun.
and
Gil was kind of someone that I felt like he was in the background this whole season. I never really felt like I learned much about Gil.
Dan
and
had a special dinner. I'm surprised
you know
he
what?
left.
And I was surprised he left too, because I know she really liked Dan. But listen, when you get down to now the what? Drum roll, please. Final 7.
Final 7.
Yeah.
We got Chalk, Jordan, Guy, Pascal, Jonathan, Mark, and Keith.
Yeah.
Keith, who got the one-on-one, our first impression rose, and yet to get a one-on-one date.
And kind of fumbled his date in the driveway.
I thought he was
sweating.
toast.
So did I. And I think he thought he was toast. He definitely thought he was done. And he was the last one, if I'm not mistaken, to get the rose.
He was.
And you're like, wow, Keith lives to see another day. The girl dad from San Jose.
I thought it was going to be Dan. I thought it was
going to be Dan as well. So a fun final 7, and they give us a trailer of what's to come the rest of the season. I like when they do that, not just next week.
Yes.
Pascal, very much in the mix.
Yes.
And then there was the one part in that trailer where he's like, get away. He's like telling the cameras to back away. Yes. Joan's not okay. And then you hear the producer ask him, are you okay? And he's like, no, I'm not okay. So I wonder what that's all about.
There is some drama coming.
There is some drama coming.
So there is a little dose of drama.
Yeah, there is some big dose of drama still yet to come. So who is your leader in the clubhouse here at this point?
I think Chalk.
Chalk?
Gotta be Chalk. And I like Guy and Pascal. I mean, Jordan.
I mean, you might as well just say all 7 of them at this point. See, this is where we need David to come in here. David, I asked her for the one.
Okay, I'll say Chalk.
And then she's given me
like them all.
7 guys.
I like
Unbelievable.
I like them. I mean, I guess Keith is like on the fringe for me because he had an awkward conversation.
Keith is on the fringe.
Mark is a little on the fringe just because he's a little shy-ish, I think, with her.
Yeah, I feel like she has like this comfort level with Mark just from, knowing him from Kelsey's season. And I feel like he's kind of the old reliable, like she can just kind of lean on him, and she kind of likes having his presence there.
Maybe
I don't
it's a
know.
Slow burn. Maybe
could be a slow burn. Could be a slow burn. So we'll see. I don't know if there's that spark just yet, but I still like Pascal. I think Chalk is the favorite, and I think between Guy and Jordan, I'm gonna say Jordan is the sneaky guy to come out of that of the 7 that are left. He's the one that's, let's call him my dark horse, is what I will call him in sports terms. Jordan is the dark horse.
What about Jonathan?
Jonathan, I think she likes Jonathan. I just don't know if she has the same chemistry with him that she does with some of the other guys.
And does she want to be a stepmom to kids that are still in very much kid zone?
Yeah, listen, at this point in your life, that's a reasonable question to ask. I will say, and I'm a very astute observer when it comes to these things, the first real makeout that she's had, like a real kiss, was Chalk.
Oh, okay.
Chalk got like, can I say tongue?
Yeah.
There was a French kiss going on, although Pascal would call it just a kiss. My man, Papi Le Pew.
Well, maybe she wasn't as receptive to him, but Jordan had tongue at one point, too.
Yeah, but I don't think she was kissing him back like that, but she was definitely...
She went for it with Chalk.
Yes,
yeah.
She went. That's a good way to put it. She went for it with Chalk. Says the woman who hasn't been on a date in 18 years.
I go on dates. I still, with my husband.
Went for it with
Chalk. He takes me on dates.
Yeah, I hope so. And you better go for it at the end of that date with your husband. That's all I got to say.
Oh, gosh.
That is all I got to say. And on that note, wait, real quick, the jury duty story.
Oh, yeah.
So I was in high school working at the movie theater, and, I was basically, it was my summer before my freshman year of college. And, I needed money to make it through school. I was paying my way for everything, and I couldn't afford to take time off from the movie theater, and I think I was making like $7.50 an hour.
Yeah.
This goes back a little ways. I get called for jury duty, and I go in there, and I'd never done this before, and I was sitting next to this guy, and I'm like, have you ever been in a case? He's like, yeah, I was on a property case once. Another guy said I was on this divorce case or whatever it was. So I get called into the jury room, and then I get called into the jury box.
Oh,
so
yeah.
anybody that's been in that position, you're basically one step away from being in this trial.
Yeah.
And the prosecuting attorney is there, and he says, ladies and gentlemen, this is a case of first-degree murder.
Oh, my gosh.
And I'm like, oh, my God, this is the last thing I want to be a part of. And it's like the dead of summer, too. Like, before I go to college, like, who wants to spend their summer in the courtroom for a month? You know what I mean?
It's your civic duty.
It is your civic duty. So they have the defendant there. The guy who's been charged with murder, and the prosecutor's given this whole thing, and he kind of gives his case, and he says, is there anyone here who sees my client as guilty? My hand goes right in the air, and he's like, juror number 3, Mr. Field, why do you see my client as guilty? And I said, I don't know, sir, he just looks guilty to me. And he goes, juror number 3, you're dismissed. And I was like, thank God. So the ending to the story is this. The case lasted almost a month and was all over the Detroit papers, and sure as hell, the guy was guilty. So there you go.
You had him pegged.
My first impression, not the first impression, Rose, my first impression was that he was guilty, and I was indeed right.
Disclaimer, though, it is important to be a part of a
It
jury.
is, yes. Okay, yeah, we'll add the asterisks there. Yes, it is very important.
But for more tips on how to get out of jury duty, visit
right.
Ryan's website.
Yeah, find me on Instagram, Ryan Field ABC, and I'll give you all the pointers that you need. But yes, it is your civic duty, and thankfully Gina was doing her civic duty here
Taking
today.
one for the team.
Taking one for the team. She had to miss Jack. Jack filled her seat quite admirably, we should say. And there's a whole lot of fun still yet to come on this season of the Golden Bachelorette. And if you like playing the field, what do you need to do?
Like and follow us.
Like and follow us for all your favorite Bachelor content. And again, thank you so much for being here. Gina will be back next week.
We hope.
Unless she's on a first-degree murder trial, which we hope not. For Jack and Jen, I'm Ryan. We'll see you next week on Playing the Field.